Hello everyone and welcome back to our Rise of Kingdom video. This is your boy Legend Ronnie and today I'm going to talk about Boudica. It is that time, that moment when Boudica needs to shine. It is officially released into the game, which means that the skills will stay like this. We will have her on the Wheel of Fortune on the next rotation from this video, which is going to be in about a week from this video. Now, I'm pleasantly surprised that they kept the direct damage factor on these commanders the same as they were on the leaks that we released a couple of weeks back. 2300 damage factor for archers with a skill talent tree. I am shocked. I am completely shocked that they let this thing happen. However, Nevsky might have a say in this, a thing or two. So definitely don't get overhyped about this. We still need to consider the fact that she is increasing the skill damage on the target, which makes her second in command to be even more powerful. And that's where Henry comes in play with another 2300 damage factor. So if we want to use these two commanders for field, when it comes to single target wise, I think they will completely crush everything. The only pair that I think that could potentially win against Boudica and Henry, it would be an XY and Nevsky. And the reason is because XY and Nevsky, they have a very fast skill rotation. XY only needs 850 rage, while Boudica needs 1000 rage. It's also Cavs versus Archers, so they do have a little bit of an advantage on top of the fast skill damaging rotation, which means that archers will do less damage to Cavs, the Cavs will do a bit more damage to the archers. And possibly, there is a possibility that this 2300 damage factor and the amount of skill damage reduction this pair has together might compensate enough, and they might just even win on a one-on-one scenario or a one-on-one situation. We will need to test them first before we can say that. However, I would say that Boudica and Henry is going to be the most terrifying combo in the game once they will be really released. We still need the Mightiest Governor to start in order to get Henry, and we still need the Wheel of Fortune in order to get Boudica. But I'm really hyped. And you should be hyped as well, because that's the reason I'm doing this video. To let you all know how important Boudica is going to be, even if you don't plan to do Henry, because Henry has his third skill, which is pure conquering. Either you're hitting cities or you're hitting strongholds, while Boudica is pure field fighting, is versatility. All her skills can be used on the field, something that all the players do in the game, or all the aspects of the game. Either it is going to be Arc, either is it going to be Olympia, either is it going to be Canyon. Wherever you're doing, I can 100% tell you that Boudica will be used there. And this is not all. The second beauty about Boudica is her expertise. When under control effects, troops have an 80% chance to dispel them. And it says, when you click on it, including effects such as silence, disarm, and heal immunity. Well, I don't care about the heal immunity or disarm that much, but silence, because we have a beautiful archer commander that silences herself, which is Artemisia, with her 4th skill. So if you have 80% chances to reduce this, while you have only 50% chances to silence yourself, so let's say 1 skill rotation out of 10, you will take the full silence. That's what I believe. If you're going to use a Boudica and Artemisia, which is something that I will plan to use, because that's what I wanted to wait. I wanted to wait for the expertise. I want to see the details on the expertise, the things that it will remove. Of course, we still have to test them in the game, and then we will probably see. But as long as they say silence over here, even if in the game right now might not remove it, they will fix it. So in the future, Boudica and Artemisia will be a thing, which I'm really happy to say that. Now, you want to put Artemisia first, or you want to put Boudica first, that's entirely up to you. I'm still deciding as well. and I'm thinking to put Artemisia first because of the 50% skill damage. However, Boudica does a 35% skill damage increase on the target as well, which would make Artemisia hit harder. But Artemisia has the defense tree, so there is a lot of debating in here, but still very cool and amazing options. And then there is the other thing regarding Boudica and Artemisia is the healing that Boudica can offer, and then you have healing from the defense tree. So this could bring this march to have a very high field fighting sustainability, because you'll get triple healing, primary skill healing, secondary skill healing from the defense tree, and then you get the other 800. And if you do Artemisia first, then 100% you will do the rotation on the 7 seconds. If you put Boudica first, you might generate too much rage, and there might be an conflict over here with the healing. But if you want to use Boudica first, then you would care to do as much damage as possible. You wouldn't care about the sustainability. So there would be situation where Boudica would be very useful first, and there would be situation where Artemisia would be very useful first. Now, going on some of the other skills, Boudica has her third skill, which is the only one that was modified. Her skill damage taken reduction was 35% in the leaks, so they reduced it to 25%, which I think it's fair. I was thinking that it will go down to like 30, to be honest, like Ramses, but 25% is pretty fair considering the other skills that she has. So they did balance her a little bit. And then you have normal attack damage and normal attack damage bonus, 25% or 50%. With chances. And there is something that you need to take in mind from this. Both increases can trigger independently once every 7 seconds. So if you have one triggering, can pop the other on the next turn, for example, but then you'll have cooldown on both. This is what I'm understanding from the skill, that each and every trigger has an independent cooldown, which I think that's quite alright. So it's not like the 51 popped or the 25 one popped and that's it, then next time you pray for the bigger one to pop. Her second skill is what also surprised me a lot. You get 30% archer attack, which is really good, 10% march speed, super cool, and then the defense. The defense, you get it once you get 80% or less troops. Now in a rally situation, that's gonna happen pretty fast. On a field fighting situation, you might take a couple of hits before that's gonna happen, but at 80% your march is still very useful and very powerful. And if you get the 30% defense, now imagine that you could get another 20% defense from Artemisia plus the 20% health. That's gonna be pretty huge deal. Or if you want to do a Boudica in YSG, which is kind of the second march I recommend, it's another 10% defense and 50% skill damage and rage and 100% attack. When it comes to nuking power for archers, like just raw damage, I think that Boudica and YSG is gonna be the most terrifying combo for that purpose. And the second one, it would be with Henry. However, when it comes to rallying, is a total different story. I would definitely put Henry. But as a single target raw damage nuking power, I think Boudica and YSG will be the most crazy one. And as a one-on-one situation, I mentioned earlier, I think only Boudica and Henry might win against an XY and Nevsky. That's my prediction regarding this. If you want a small investment for Boudica, I don't know where I should tell you to start. Because 5551 is the minimum I would go with Boudica, and after that you want her expertise. That's 10% all damage for your archers. I mean, you 100% want to have that. Even if your march is getting swarm, this is all damage, so you'll do 10% more counter attack on the marches that will swarm you. So you 100% want to have her with expertise. She's a must-have commander. If you want to have an archer commander on the field, now she is the one. You want to use your YSG, you never worked on an archer commander, she is the one. Boudica, YSG, or if you're having a lot of archer commanders, then you have various other options to use her with. But definitely and 100% go for Boudica. Other interesting pairs with Boudica could also be with various other commanders, with Ramses, but Ramses is well known to work with any other Usher commanders for that matter. But for example, if you want to stack the skill damaging reduction, you have a 30% skill damage reduction with attack bonus and a lot of attack bonus and various other options. I mean, Ramses is really cool as well. So you could potentially do a Boudica and Ramses as well if you want to go for something super tanky field wise. However, I would recommend that these two commanders should be separate. If you have a lot of Usher commanders and you want to make a lot of pairs with Ushers, I would definitely put them separately. If you do invest in heavily in Ushers, I would keep Boudica with Henry 100%. I would keep them both together. They have a lot of defensive options and a lot of march speed, which makes them pretty ideal for field fighting. Now if you do want to split them apart, I would 100% go Boudica and YSG. It's my go-to march. If you have Artemisia, then Boudica and Artemisia. If you want to put Henry with something else because you're thinking that 30% march speed might be too much, then you could do Henry and Ramses for that matter. Either you want to put Ramses first, you want to put Henry second. In my opinion, if you have a lot of Usher marchers, now that we saw the expertise of Boudica, I would keep a Monitor for garrison purposes only. And now that you have, for your Artemisia, you have Boudica, you can make this pair. Gilgamesh is also a very solid option for field. Gilgamesh and Nebu, I like this march a lot. So if you want to do pairs with Henry and Gilgamesh, for example, or Gilgamesh and Henry, because Gilgamesh has the skill tree and that would empower Henry even more, and you're also debuffing with health, so when Henry is going to hit with 2300 he will hit harder. This is at the point where you want to split Boudica and Henry and you just want to make a lot of Usher marchers. That's how I would put them. I would put a Gilgamesh and Henry, I would put a Boudica and Artemisia. You could potentially do a Ramses and Nebu. That's super solid Usher marches that you can do over there. You have Cyrus as well, which is a very nice option to go with. You have YSG, which is a very nice option to go with. But when you look at all these commanders that I mentioned, they all have defensive option, very good defensive option. I'm showing Nebuchadnezzar over here. When you look at Gilgamesh, he brings health and he also brings normal attack damage reduction. Artemisia has a defense 3, defense and health. Ramses has skill damage and defense with a chance. Then you have Boudica, you have Henry, which you already know how good they are. So this is kind of the thought process. But if you want to do 4 and 5 Usher marches, then you definitely should include other commanders as well, which some of them might make them a little bit weaker. However, YSG does bring 10% defense now with the museum, which is still a shock when you think about it, because YSG was really good and he still is really good, but now with the museum it just makes him better. I was just trying to point out some 3 best Usher marches that I would do now with all these commanders, but if you want to include YSG, you definitely can, and a lot of people enjoy a Nebu and YSG. So that means that Ramses could go with someone else. Ramses could go with Tomiris, which is a very favorite marcher of mine. So then you have 4 solid Usher marchers. You have Ramses and Tomiris, you have Nebu and YSG, you have Boudica and Artemisia, and you have Gilgamesh with Henry. 4 super solid Usher marchers. And if you really want to go further and you want to do a 5th Usher march, you got Cyrus in there, which you could potentially put him with El Cid. I don't know with who else, how else I would split the marchers to do a 5th Usher march, but Cyrus would be the 5th option, or maybe a lot of people are in favor of Honda, and then you could do a Cyrus and Honda. However, you might be too Honda-ish with all this march speed from Cyrus, because Cyrus has a lot of march speed as well. So that's something you want to think in, put in balance when you think about it. Maybe a Monitor, a Cyrus and a Monitor, but I don't think that will work very great. to be honest. I would keep a monitor for garrison now that we have all this option with the archers. Maybe even a Cyrus and Mehmed. I mean, Mehmed is being used now quite a lot, and he does bring results. So that would just empower Cyrus with a lot of skill damage, and you get more AoE value. When it comes to her talent tree, it's very easy. We have a lot of commanders that got the skill and the archer, and this is how I'm talenting all my archers. My opinion was always that skill damaging commanders that have high skill damage should benefit at maximum from their skills, and any bit of rage generation that you can get, even if it brings you to over rage or what people call it, I prefer to get that. So even if my feral nature in some turns, right, will grant me 10 rage, 20 rage, 30 rage, but I'll cap the rage, which brings me closer to my skill rotation to do more damage. And that's what I want from my skill damaging commanders. If you're not happy with this talent tree, there is other variations of this talent tree. Something like this, where you can go with the whistling arrow, you have 1 point in razor sharp and you don't have the feral nature. So you have the other two beautiful skills that archer have. So this is the second option. You could potentially go with archers if you're not a fan of feral nature. But when you have a skill as powerful as Boudica, I would 100% go with the feral nature. However, that is just me. And maybe you think the same, because maybe we know something, particularly in these KVKs where there is a lot of going in and going out fights, which I have been mentioning this in many of my videos, because a lot of people are asking me why I'm keep going with feral nature. That is the reason. You want to generate rage as fast as possible, nuke down your target as fast as possible, move to the next one. The reason I like to pair the marchers, as I was showing you the three marchers without YSG, is not because YSG is not good, but YSG is really good. If you have him, you should 100% use him. But I like my marchers to be a little bit more tanky, which I noticed that whenever I put YSG with someone, unless it's Artemisia, it goes down pretty fast. Like an Ebu and YSG, I like that march. I really like it. If it's left alone, it's a crazy killing combo, 100%. But if it's targeted, boy oh boy, he just melts. And that's the part that I don't like about my marches. When someone is forming one of my march and it melts, like I'm using now X, Y, and William, and it's the same situation. When my opponents target X, Y, and William, I don't even have time to realize he's half health already, and it pisses me off completely. So I always have to pay attention. Whenever I see his bar moving down a little bit, I instantly retreat him, so I don't get really bad trades. And that's why I try to keep as less marchers that are very squishy as possible. But of course, Boudica and YSG and people will do tests and more videos and so on, will be a very amazing combo. But in my situation that I have so many archers, I will do Boudica and Artemisia for sure. I want to keep my Tomyris on the field as well, so I'm most likely going to do a Ramses and Tomyris. And I have to decide if I'm going to do a Gilgamesh and Henry, or I put Nebu somewhere in there. I still haven't decided, but that's going to be my go-to three marches. I want Ramses as well on the field, and I want Tomyris as well. I want those debuffs in there. I still want them. Even though Boudica does a debuff now with the skill damage, but that's okay, because I'll just get even more. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? What do you think is going to be her best pairs, her best go-to? I think that she's gonna be a really amazing commander, as amazing as Nevsky was when it was released for Cavs, and as amazing as Scipio is when it was released for infantry. Until next time, this is your boy Legend Ronnie signing off. Peace out, and take care. See you on the next one, and stay safe out there, my friends.